All right, guys, we're back in the elevator Paso. This is a program dedicated to raising quality of life. We do this through education and inspiration, and by spotlighting those local heroes that perhaps nobody knows of yet. Today, we're going to be spotlighting one of these heroes. We're going to be speaking with Josh Silvas, and Josh is one of those guys that he feels that he could lift the world. Josh, how are you, brother?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Tell us a little bit about this. There's a desire to lift the world. What's that all about?
So, ever since I was a young kid, I've always had the dream to lift the world. I've always loved to train. I always had the work engine to train. So I love lifting heavy. So people always ask me, so how strong do you want to be? And I always told them I just want to lift the world.
Yeah.
So I've always had that, and the irony behind that is the trophy for winning the world's strongest man is the man actually lifting the world. So
Right.
It's interesting how all that aligned together for me.
And so now Josh is on his journey to get to the world's strongest man competition, right?
Well, I'm in journey to get my pro card first,
Okay.
to get on the platform to be the world's strongest man.
Tell me about this. What got you to this point?
I used to play football, and that's what started. And one of my favorite parts about playing football is working out with the team. I love doing that. And then from there, I graduated college. I had a chance to go play European football, but I was done with football. I thought I was going to coach at the time. So
Yeah.
in between that time, I decided to start training again with my coach, Scott Warman, and I started to powerlift. So I did extremely well there, and he always pushed me to do strongman, and I never understood why. I didn't have an interest, like whatever to me.
Yeah.
But then I tried it for the first time, and I fell in love with it. And that's when I found out this is my path, and this is what I was born to be.
Tell me about the competition. Strongman is something completely different for a lot of us that are completely ignorant to this. It's something different than bodybuilding or CrossFit or all this. What is strongman all about?
So in my opinion, strongman is the alpha sport. And the reason being is because you're going to lift the most weight possible and you're going to move it. You're not just going to stay in a static position. There are events where you'll be statically, but you have to move with it, you have to run with it, you have to throw something over your head, you got to press it over your head. So you're going to put your body in positions that's really critical, or you can jeopardize your body getting hurt. And because you take that on, you move with it, you run with it, it's a sport that not many can do. And that's why I feel like it's a top sport, the sport, to prove that you're the strongest in the world.
So how many competitors are on this? Is this a big thing?
Yeah, so the nationals that I competed with, there was 472 competitors
Wow.
in one federation. Another federation in my weight class, there was about 30, 40, but it's the top athletes in the country, and including Mexico and Canada, the whole North America.
So what are the weight classes?
So there's lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweights. I'm a super heavyweight. I'm blessed because God made big, beautiful people. So yeah, it's a 3-weight and above, and I obviously qualify like that.
Awesome, very awesome. So what is the average weight that you're lifting on these competitions?
So the lightest weight is about 320 pounds,
Ooh.
and you're gonna press that over your head.
Wow.
This competition that I'm doing, we're gonna actually pick up to 880 pounds off the floor.
Wow. How did you get to that point? I mean, when you were playing football, were you already lifting this much?
No, I never was lifting this weight. I didn't start lifting this weight until last year. So again, at football, you don't gotta lift that heavy.
Right.
You gotta be explosive, be fast. When I started powerlifting, you do put weight on your back, but all you gotta do is squat it. But when doing strongman, you gotta put the weight in your back, run 60 feet, run back. So it's not until I joined the sport that I had to do all this.
So what are the implications there in regards to the training? How has that changed for you?
So I still have to be statically strong. So when you're a strong man, you have to be the strongest in every position. So I need my legs to be strong, I need my back, my shoulders, my spine needs to be able to hold everything. My core has to be strong to move in different positions. So every part of my body, there can be a weakness. Because if there is, when I lift something, I'm gonna end up hurting myself, or I won't be able to perform or zero out an event. So I have to get my body all physically strong, the whole body.
And how are you gauging this?
So I different days I have different workouts, but I'm gonna hit the whole week. I'm gonna hit my whole body. So I'll hit my legs, I'll hit my back, I'll hit my shoulders, my thighs, my tries, my back, my core, my calves, like the little muscles that you don't think that you use. I have to train those because I do.
Last week I saw him working out his right pinky toe.
You need balance. You need balance. You gotta use that.
You're going out of town for this too. It's a combination of different gyms. Tell me what you're going out of town for. How is that different over there?
So I have a strongman gym here, but I found another coach. And I've always liked him. He's another big guy, so we both can relate to each other. So he invited me to his gym. I decided to try it, and I learned a lot more. So with him, he was a lot more critical. He was a lot more technical, and he was more of a what's the perfect? He was a very technical. He's a technical coach,
Right.
and that's what I fell in love with. So for me, I'm strong enough to pick it up raw, correct? Just pick it up, I get it anyway. But with him, he teaches me the form, teaches me the technique, how to properly sit, how to properly sit. So when I travel every Saturday to Silver City just to get coaching from him.
Yeah, it sounds like you would want to make sure that you're being safe in regards to the form you're taking to this.
I want to be in the best position possible and have the best advantage possible.
Exactly. So are he and Scott working together with you?
Yes, they are.
Excellent. In regards to your diet, I mean, have we modified this or?
So even though I'm a big guy, I can't eat bad food. So I can't go to Chili's down the street and eat cheesecake. I can't eat bread all the time because I want to gain good weight, not bad weight. I still need to be quick. I still need to be fast. I need to have stamina and endurance. So I have to eat clean, really good food, stuff that's gonna help me repair for the next workout, recover from the workout that I just did, and give me energy, always keep me in top shape so I can recover and be ready for the next one.
What's a regular meal look for you, brother?
About a T-bone steak and maybe a carb of potatoes and vegetables. That's 1 of 5.
That sounds like one of my dinners. You gotta give me more than that. I was expecting you to tell me like 10 steaks or something like
Well,
that.
are you talking about a meal or a whole day?
How many times do you eat?
I eat 5 times a day.
Oh,
So what I
okay.
just told
Wow.
you, that's just one meal.
Oh, wow.
And I gotta do that 4 more times.
Yeah.
So I start like around 6 in the morning when I get up. That's my first meal. 3 hours later is another meal. At 12 is another meal. I'll stop my workout just to eat.
So do you have an idea of how many calories you're burning per
About
work?
8,000 calories.
Wow, that's a lot. That is a lot.
I need to make sure I eat it so I can put it out.
Right. Yeah, and has your physical weight fluctuated?
In off season, that does. In prep, I always drop down.
Really?
Yes. So I tend to eat less so my metabolism's not going, and sometimes I have cheat days. But and when I'm in prep, there's no such thing as a cheat day.
So getting to your weight classes, has that been something you've had to work for, or are you pretty much?
Ever since I was a second grader, I weigh 212 pounds.
Okay.
So if I were to lose 100 pounds, I'm still 300 pounds.
Yeah.
So I never have to worry about making my cut.
Right.
I've been blessed to be this big.
Right. So what do the guys that you're competing against look like?
They look a lot smaller than me. Some are
Really?
taller than me. Some are taller than me, but I have a different body type. And I'm not saying that I'm superior towards them, but I just feel like I was born for this specific sport to utilize what I have.
Now you've said this a couple of times already. What does being born for something imply to you? How does lifting the world metaphorically translate?
Well, I think to answer the first question is everybody's born for a specific reason, I believe. So if your job is just to be a mom, then be the mom, be the best mom. If you're born to be a doctor, then be a doctor, but be the best doctor. So for me, I feel like I was blessed to lift heavy weight, to move heavy weight. And that's just something that I can do naturally, but with the right coaching, I can do it even better. And that's just something that I felt like I was born to do. So, what was your next question with that one?
Metaphorically, when you say you want to lift the world, how does this translate? Are we talking about being able to take this skill for a higher purpose?
Well, yes. Lifting the world like I mentioned earlier, is that the trophy is actually lifting the world. So for me, I believe in my mind, how I train myself, is that there's not a weight that I can't lift in this world. I have a meteorite in my necklace. I always carry that with me. I always wear it to remind me, to tell myself that I'm not of this world. So I don't let worldly things bother me or stop me. Sometimes I do fall, but I have to pick myself up and think of myself differently to do what I want to do.
And in that situation, when you find yourself that you're needing to pick yourself back up, where do you turn to? What do you do?
I'm very blessed with my support system. So I've always said it takes a village to have a strong man, to raise a strong man. So I have a great family. I have a great team of coaches that I can talk to. I have a great girlfriend that also helps me out too. So every person in my life that surrounds me plays a huge responsibility to help me with something. So I'm not always going to have the mentality to be strong. But sometimes I need to take a step back. Sometimes I need to reevaluate. And look how far I've gone. Look what I've done already. And sometimes, you know what? I don't need to be serious. So I have a specific guy that I just go to, like, hey man, let's go and drink some tea somewhere. Let's just go for a drive. And that alone is just huge for me. Even just going for a drive, even to go shoot. that's just something that just helps me get balanced. And like, all right, now I reset it, now let's go back to work.
How do you want all this to serve as an inspiration?
That I believe that everybody has a purpose. And I strongly believe that if you can find your path, if you can find your purpose, you can do whatever you want. So if you want to be a doctor, you want to be a teacher, if you want to be a strongman, a football player, and go do it, why not? If it's your gift, it's your path, you owe it to yourself to go get it done.
Now, for those out there that perhaps do want to be a strongman, what do you think should be their first step?
Make sure that it is what you want to do, because it's going to be very demanding. It's going to ask for so much more. You're going to have to sacrifice a lot more than you want to. And if that's really what you want, it's going to make the sacrifice much easier.
Yeah.
Even though it's still going to be hard, even though if it is your path, but it's worth it.
Now it sounds there like you've already have had to sacrifice some more than you wanted to. Where has that taken you?
I haven't sacrificed more than I wanted to because this is what I want to do. So if I have to miss a party, if I have to miss eating some cheesecake, and so be it. It's this what I want to do. There's a bigger picture at the end.
Yeah.
So I'd rather sacrifice a little bit to live the life that I want to live.
So let's place ourselves in that scenario where you've already won. You've already achieved this. Now, we have seen many athletes get to that pinnacle point and then find themselves a little bit lost, and then everything kind of tends to go downhill. You see this a lot in fighters and so on. How are you going to stop that from happening? What's going to be next?
Well, me being a strongman and reaching my goals, that's just a step to the next level that I want to go. And I want to be a motivational speaker. I want to move people. So when I physically can't do it anymore, I still have a mind, I can still talk, and I'm going to use that to the fullest too. And now I won't just lift the world, but I want to move the world.
Excellent. And is this something that you feel has been a part of your drive? Have you had those voices that have been motivated you?
Absolutely. I've been very blessed with that.
Yeah.
I believe from God I got on those voices, and from my team. I hear things, I see things, and I want to say that it does sound crazy, but who isn't crazy when you have a dream and that you want to follow it?
Yeah. Tell me, do you feel it already? Can you taste it? Can you see yourself there already?
I do. I can be honest with you, and I really do.
Yeah.
But I don't live there. I can't live there. I have to live in the present, and I have to make sure that I have to go through every emotion that I'm going through right now, because the life that I live right now is not the same life I'm going to live a year from now. So I can't live up there. I can't stay there. I have to stay here.
That's
It's
interesting.
not my time.
That's interesting. Most people would want to keep that as the focus and stay in that. Tell me about what you're experiencing. How has being present been a tool of growth for you?
Because it humbles you. It's unfortunate that I live a life where I can't have the luxuries that I have. I drive a truck where I broke my seat, and I have to drive with a toolbox and a tire in the back so I can sit upright. So I remind myself that, hey, you know what? One day I'll buy the truck that I want. I have a note that I have with me in my bag that I was hoping to get a sponsorship, but the guy told me, you haven't done enough yet, so we can't help you out. So I wrote that down. I wrote the date. It was April 18th, as a matter of fact. I just read it on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me, this is a life that I live, and what I want in the future, it's worth what I'm going through right now.
Yeah.
Just driving.
Josh, tell me a little bit about those competitions that you have already won. You said you've competed here locally already.
Yes, I competed back in March here locally at the Border Beast Battle, I believe. Back in March. I won it. It was my first one. I wasn't mentally ready for it, but I trust my training, and that helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
And the way that I train is a lot more different than a lot of people train. My coach, he's really, really big on training heavy and strong, and because of that is the reason why I won that competition.
Yeah. What about it made you realize that you weren't mentally ready?
Because I talk too much, and I can't afford to talk. I have to focus. And there's people actually trying to play mind games with me, trying to talk to me, trying to pick my brain or try to leave focused, not to be focused anymore.
Yeah.
So I made that mistake. My coach called me, he helped me out. I didn't believe that I could do some of the events. And I shut my mind off, so I let my body take over.
Yeah.
And that only helps you in an amateur level. The level that I want to go to, I need to make sure that my whole cell needs everything that I need to do so I can live.
Yeah. Before we let you go, brother, any last words or anything you want people out there to know? I know there's a journey that's about to be documented. Let's make sure we talk about this.
Yeah, so I'm starting a YouTube channel called Silvas Strong. So I have 12 weeks for this competition, and I'm gonna give, a lot of people wanna know, what do I do, what do I eat, what do I do for recovery, how do I train? So now I'm gonna give the public a view of what I do. So I'll be showing them what I eat, what I do for recovery, nip and snips of my workouts, how heavy I go, my mental prep. I show them like what do I have to do, how do I prepare myself, you know, give them a whole introspect of my whole life, what I do and how I give up myself to accomplish that goal.
Where do they find this?
So it's on Silvas Strong, YouTube. Right now we're in the works of finalizing the channel and start editing and putting the videos out so we can follow the journey. I'm also on Instagram and I post quite frequently my workouts and they can follow me on there as well. That's Silvas68, at Silvas68.
Guys, you gotta make sure that we're supporting our local talent. This is something that is not just gonna put the name of El Paso out there, but it also provides us with another role model that all the young people out there, they're lacking so much of. So I do believe that we all need to show Josh our support. Go out there, follow him, follow his journey, and let him know that you're with him. Josh, one more thing before I let you go. You said you're gonna talk about your mental preparation. What does that look like? Where do you get your mental strength, your spiritual strength?
Well, I'm a big journaler. I like to write. I feel a lot of emotions, so I like to write it down. So usually I always write down how I'm feeling. How do I feel after a workout? How do I feel in my recovery day? So I always look at that, and I always look at my progressions, and I have to look back and see if I'm getting more mentally ready, if I'm getting more confident, if I'm believing in myself more. So the fact that I have a whole book of that lets me know if I'm progressing, am I not progressing, am I going back, am I getting mentally stronger? So I have a journal for that. I also believe that I need to get emotionally strong at the same time. So how do I deal with my emotions? How do I deal with the loss? How do I feel with when I'm not focused? How can I do that? So I'm really big about the mind, so I can always process my stuff, process my emotions, process how I'm feeling at the time, and work on it. I also read books. I like to see how how do they think? I'm not the only one that's crazy, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of crazy people that do crazy things. So how did they get that far? Yeah. So I try to learn from everyone that I can. I learn from my coach. I learn from my friends. Everybody has something positive to say or something to learn, and I always implement that. That helps me.
What's your favorite book?
Right now, I'm reading Can't Break Us by David Goggins.
Okay.
And that one right now is what I really like. Then I also have the Mental Champion.
Yeah.
And that one I really like a lot too. Help me out.
Excellent. Now, any last words, brother?
Nah, you more, man. You have a question, I'll answer.
I do appreciate you being here, brother, and I look forward to being able to follow up with you. I'm hoping that as soon as we start knocking out some of these competitions, you're able to come back to the show and tell us about the experience.
Yeah,
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.